And Sharon was asking me about my own clients, so the clients that I have at the moment, the bigger clients that I have, and how I attracted those using the systems that I teach in the Full Stack Accelerator. So what happened is that I ran a number of Facebook ad campaigns using the exact system that I teach in the Full Stack Accelerator. And those were more sort of generic campaigns. And in that, because I specialize in software and app development, those campaigns were really focusing on how to build software and how to build apps that don't waste time, that don't waste money, that are a joy to use for the users, and you know, have all of these other nice sort of features, you know, don't cost a fortune, etc. And what happened is I ran that generic campaign to business owners here in Australia, primarily business owners in my probably a 200-kilometre radius from where I am. Now, what happened is that from that ad campaign, I was explaining to Sharon before this recording, is that I went into this grand sales process with one of the prospects from that campaign. And that particular prospect was in the certification industry. So auditing, assessing, and making sure that, you know, companies meet a certain standard. Now, what happened is from that sales process, I had, you know, probably half a dozen conversations with this client. I, you know, uncovered the pains. I uncovered, you know, what the outcomes would be for this client through our conversations. So I felt like I had a lot of insights into his business, and I sent him a proposal. I think the proposal was for $85,000, and he ghosted me. So he went away into the ether. I never heard back from him. I think it must have been significantly more than he was expecting. But so what happened from that point, though, is I had all of these insights into the industry. So from the conversations that I had with this prospect, I knew that in that certification industry, the software that they have is terrible. And most of the businesses that run in that industry are operating from spreadsheets. So that when they get inquiries from their prospects, they're putting it in a spreadsheet. When they're trying to book assessors to actually go out on site and you know, run an assessment in a company, a client of theirs, it's all in spreadsheets. And then and to manage you know, if they have 12 assessors who are all around the country trying to assess these companies, they have to work out what are their availabilities and, you know, what are they qualified to assess. You know, they can only assess certain things. So it's this huge hodgepodge of requirements and qualifications and bookings, etc. So I knew that from the conversations that I had with this prospect. And so what I had all of a sudden was an insight into this industry, which really gave me huge context when I was doing my outreach work. So what happened is that then, so I was running Facebook ads. I had this long sales conversation with this prospect, and then I had these insights into this industry. Now that I had those insights, I did the email outreach system where I went onto the websites. I used all of those extensions, etc., to find the emails of decision makers. I used the CRMs that I talk about in the training. I just put it all in there so I could do a mail merge. And then what I did is in that mail merge, I just touched on the pain points that I learned from that prospect. So I said, look, I understand that in the certification industry, you know, the software that you're using is archaic. You know, it doesn't make your business run any more efficiently. In fact, it's probably costing you a huge amount of revenue every year. And I can actually kind of remember this email in my mind because it resulted in a huge win for my business. I think the next paragraph was then basically, I specialize in helping businesses completely streamline all of these processes. If this is something that would help your business, reply to this email and we'll jump on a quick 5-minute call. And that was it. And I sent that to, I think, I didn't know it'd be as successful as it was. So I think I sent it to only 15 people, which is quite low as far as, you know, what I suggest in the program. The response rate was about 30%. So I had 5 people respond to that email, which is huge, but keep in mind, it's a small sample size. I think I jumped on the call with 3 to 5 of those people. And the client that ended up winning from that 15 email blast was someone who was initially quite suspicious. My email was actually flagged as spam in their system. So when he replied to my email, it actually had sort of the square brackets in the subject line saying suspicious email. And, you know, we emailed back and forward, back and forward. And then finally what happened is that, you know, as I say in the program, you know, the goal of these email outreach is to actually get them on a call, get them in a meeting and prove that you are a real person and an expert. And that's what I did. I built trust. We jumped on a call eventually. And the goal of that call was to get him in person. And I met with him and his other business partner in person. And I offered them a risk reducer. The risk reducer was a $3,000 package where I would review all of their systems, review all of their existing software, their spreadsheets that they were using and so on, and make the deliverable for that was then a PDF document where I would explain to them exactly what I think they should do to streamline that whole process. And as I say in the program, the risk reducer should be a big step forward in you know, how they manage their, a big step towards what would be the larger project. So when you write a risk reducer like that, which is basically, this is all the things that I think you could do, this is what I think the outcome of doing that work would be. And when you're saying, look, I think you'll get a 30% efficiency gain, you know, and in their mind, you know, oh my God, that's $500,000 a year. You know, we could be making $500,000 more a year by doing this work. And that's how that worked. And so actually, so from using the Facebook system I teach in the program as well, the second client that I'm working with at the moment, which is also another not quite six-figure project, but very close, that was from the Facebook system that I teach. And it was in the manufacturing industry, so software for the manufacturing industry. He had experience with IT people in the past, and the value video that I created using the script I teach in the program was all about, you know, this is what you have to be careful of when you're working with IT people. Some of them struggle to communicate well. You have to make sure that they have design chops, because if you assume they have design chops, and they try to design for you, it may not be quite what you expect, and so on. You know, that's sort of some of the stuff I talk about in that value video. And all of that resonated with him because he had worked, you know, in that industry, with that industry in the past, and it was enough for him to then jump on a call with me. The risk reduction project that I offered for him was a project plan, and it was 3 high-resolution designs for his project. And the goal for my business with that work was to basically blow his socks off with really good design work, and to blow his socks off with what I would suggest he does with regards to what is actually really quite a complex bill of materials sort of system. And a combination of those two things. So the risk reducer project, I think was, look, I think I pitched that to him at $5,000, which he was more than happy to pay for. He understood the value of, you know, getting those insights very early in the project. And so he was more than happy to pay $5,000 for that. He paid all of that up front. Once we finished that project, I pitched him the complete project, I think at $93,000. And based on the work we've done in the risk reduction project, and based on the sort of the suggestions I made in there and the conversations that we had, you know, at that point, I was the subject matter expert into this project. Like, for him to now move on to a different provider would cost him, you know, weeks and months of, you know, all this work and this relationship that we've built. So to go with me at that point is almost a no-brainer. And so that's, you know, hopefully that sort of helps you understand the context of everything that I teach in the program, how they all sort of go together to create this cohesive sort of marketing and sales system.